End Night, the studio behind Sons of the Forest, have just pushed out another update. Now, this update doesn't actually include any new features, but it does fix a whole host of issues that have been plaguing the game as of the latest update. Now, some of these are quite important that do cause black screens, crashing, and various audio problems. So it's good that the team is still on this for these. Now, I wasn't expecting this amount of care and attention after 1.0 had launched. Since 1.0 launched back in February, we have seen a significant amount of updates that cover loads and loads of bug fixes, and they've also added some new features. After the original Forest went into 1.0, there wasn't too much in the way of updates. There was a few updates here that included hotfixes and little fixes, and some corrections and balancing, but nothing major, and especially no new features. What they did do though was add a VR version. Still, we have no news on a VR or a console release for Sons of the Forest, but with them continuing to hotfix and make this game better, hopefully, that is something that is in the works. Now, as mentioned, Now, if you are a fan of Sons of the Forest and other survival games, subscribe to the channel, drop a like in the video, and stick around for much more Sons of the Forest and survival content. If you like Bethesda-related content, check out our second channel. All of the links are in the link tree in the description down below. Check out everything down there. We've got daily content on every single platform. Greatly appreciate you fondling those buttons. Now, for this update, as mentioned, there are no new major improvements, but a hell of a load of fixes. So we will go over the fixes in this one. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. And if you are having any issues with Sons of the Forest, that this fixes those issues. So they fixed a load of audio issues surrounding the chainsaw, where audio was not playing correctly, getting jittery, or getting caught on the screen, so you could constantly hear the audio for the chainsaw after attacking certain enemies or chopping things down, which very, very annoying. The chainsaw is loud, it's aggressive, and if it's constantly playing, it can be a pain in the arse. They've also changed. Now, certain items are also not showing up in-game, which they have addressed now. There are certain outfits that don't show up, and certain grab bags in certain locations that weren't appearing. Those items have been fixed, so you should be able to get that outfit if you are missing it, alongside the grab bag items. So the grab bag is basically when you die, it posts the grab bag down, which has all of your bits in it, or if you respawn in and start the game again, it's the grab bag that has your axe, your radio, and things like that in. There's also been a big fix to log sleds and the main storage interactions, and some of these weren't turning on for item types, so when your player leaves the sled and moves out of range of it, items were not staying in the state, so you were having to constantly refill and stay within a distance of the log sled. Now that issue has been fixed, so it will make building a little bit smoother and you won't be losing out on certain bits and bobs. They've also fixed issues when it comes to cooking directly over the fire, and the fire still making lots of audio issues when you'd finished cooking and when the fire had gone out itself. So you'd still be able to hear the cooking animation sounds and the fire sounds even as the fire had gone out. There's also been issues with some traps not resetting properly. So you could go up and reset them, but they wouldn't actually reactivate when enemies stood on them. So now these traps have been fixed. It was mainly affecting the spear trap, so that's been addressed, and now all of your traps set around your base should work as intended, and you won't have to worry too much about enemies sneaking through your defenses. Now, another one when it comes to building, and that is the log cutting animation. So as you've got a log in your hand and you chop it in half, sometimes the animation wasn't playing correctly, and then the logs and planks weren't placed in the correct location, leaving certain gaps here and there that you couldn't fix. So once it had placed in, it was causing a bit of an issue. Now that has also been fixed, which is brilliant news. They've also fixed some skip animation issues which were occurring, especially when placing tarps or having things in your left hand. It was causing issues, and the skip animations option wasn't working as intended. They've now addressed that as well. There's also been some black screen rendering and flickering issues surrounding water sources. So if you were in water and you paused the game, you could have a big error or a crash or a black screen that would occur. And around streams, you'd end up with flickering and screen tearing in certain areas, so they have addressed that as well. Now, it does seem like the left hand is a bit of an issue for Sons of the Forest. because certain items being held in your left hand, such as placing stick posts, tarps, cutting logs or planks, it was causing an issue with re-equipping and stashing, so you couldn't actually re-equip items without going into your inventory and getting things out again. Basically just slowing processes down when it came to the building and equipping items. So now they've addressed that as well, which is great. There's also been certain visual aspects that they've addressed, such as stars not appearing correctly, certain items in the skyline. They've all been fixed and addressed, which is great news. There's also been some issues when it comes to NPCs, so animals basically. The animal AI not performing the way it should when you kill them. So obviously when you shoot an animal, they would fall to their death, or they'd drop down and die. These were going into a sort of T-pose if they were killed in a certain state, and then instantly just falling over, which just made things look a little bit clunky and not as good as it should have. So that's also been addressed. So overall, it is a pretty good update with a lot of fixes in there. I've had a few of these issues. I've had the chainsaw audio be stuck. Obviously, killing certain animals when they just freeze. A little bit annoying, takes away the sort of beauty of the game in some aspects. So I'm glad that that's something that has been addressed and fixed. Now, there's also a whole host of stuff that does still happen. I've had a few little bugs here and there. Now, as usual, if you are having any issues at all, make sure you report them to their feedback in the discussions area of the Community Hub on Steam. That is in the description down below, as well as my link tree. Check that out whilst you're down there. So loads and loads of good stuff coming out from the team. They are continually working to fix this. We've had several updates over the past few weeks. The last update we had on May the 15th, which was just a very small update, which was causing log sleds to cause issues again. So we've had so many updates this month. Loads of improvements, loads of fixes, and it looks like they're going to continue to push out these updates, even not on a monthly basis, but it looks like they're doing it as and when issues come up and as and when they've got fixes for them, which is good. So this month we've already had 5 updates, well, hot fixes and 1 major update. So it's great that they're working on that. I would like to see a sort of dev letter from them to let people know what's going on and what their plans are for the rest of 2024. Will we be seeing anything new? Will we get any cool stuff? Will we get VR versions? Will we get a console version? Either way, very happy with the amount of work that they continue to put into the game. Brilliant game. If you haven't got Sons of the Forest and you've played the original, you are missing out. Sons of the Forest, I do think, is a hell of a lot better than the original Forest. It's not as dark and dingy and scary as the Forest, but as a survival game, it's definitely much better. Highly recommend checking it out. For now, though, we're going to wrap that one up there. I've been Wired, you've been awesome, thanks for watching, and we'll see you very soon with some more survival.